Hello, Lorenzo here again with some more Entropy. Now, in the previous video I was completely lost as I just started up the game. Since I have done some interneting and I figured out what's what, mostly. First things, the missions that I got confused about, that was not me being stupid. The missions that we did, the first two that you're just being thrown into, that's all there is. We have a third mission now that's set to salvage some old ship remains. That's apparently really buggy, and everyone on the internet advises you to not even try that. So I'm not going to. This is the market screen. It's got small letters, as everything in this game does, and you have to buy your railgun stuff here, there. Ammunition. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's get 2-3 stacks of ammo, put that in the cargo bay, and let's have a look at that cargo bay. Here we have the railgun clip, and in the secure cargo capacity I put some luxury wines and spirits for no particular reason. The way it works is like this: the cargo capacity, the regular cargo, that gets dropped if you get killed, and the secure cargo capacity, that never gets dropped. Your ship also does not get destroyed. When you die, you respawn to a station nearby, and then you get to keep playing. Consequently, the ships in this game are very expensive. You start with 250,000 credits, and I think the first ship upgrade or a bigger tier of ship is a few million. Now, that may not sound like so much, but there is, as far as I can tell, not really a way of making money. You can trade, go from station to station and do things that way. But why would you? Because there's just NPC-based economy at the moment. Sure, players can do stuff, but they don't appear to be doing much of that at all. Also, I have a warrior ship, the Witch, and this has a very small cargo bay, so I could do endless runs and make some money that way. Missions apparently don't exist yet. The mission screen does give you missions, but most of them won't work or will be flat out buggy. You can shoot pirates, and that's what I'm going to try now, because I also discovered some nice things about the dogfighting stuff, the control scheme there. And what you do is you fly around in this this area of the map until you find like a red indicated enemy, and then you can go ahead and shoot it. Now, I'm not particularly enthusiastic about the control scheme here. Basically, you're a lazily drifting spaceship, and I get that they're trying to do like the whole Newtonian physics thing where you keep your momentum in a certain direction, but this feels more like a slick hockey puck on ice, which isn't great for the feeling of controllability and responsiveness. Also, I don't particularly appreciate the whole idea of this 2D isometric sector map and all these things. This is a patrol, for instance, or the station, or even other players. When you interact with them, you spawn a instance in which you do your stuff in the 3D space of the game. Thing is, these instances, these pockets, are pretty small. If you don't pay attention, you hit the boundary, and then you zoom back out into this view, and then everything you did basically never happened, or it's left behind or something. Also, I don't really know. Here, I'll demonstrate the size of these things. So here we have a derelict field. I can enter that, I think. Yeah, this is the ice puck idea. I have to throttle back a bit, and then I can approach that. So I say either go for full Newtonian motion, where you can just cut the engine and it keeps going, or make it just say, okay, we're doing dogfighter inspired stuff. It's like flying in space. It's not realistic. We don't care. Do that. Don't make like a crossover. Now, what I discovered about the flight model, we're in an area with no enemies. That's a bit unfortunate, but it will allow me to demonstrate what I'm talking about. Here we have a pretty classic flight model for games. We are a spaceship in space, there's many asteroids, and we have a top speed of, well, 100 meters per second. Top speeds, of course, don't really make sense. We have the engine burning, but hey, the games do it like that, so we let them get away with it. It makes for a nice dogfighting experience, and of course it isn't really playable when you get to accelerate up to multiple kilometers per second, and you are in firing range for what, a tenth of a second. It's not very nice. Also, you can see if your internet connection is not great, the game stutters and is very unresponsive. And I was complaining a little bit in my previous video about how the fighter wasn't very maneuverable. It still isn't, but that might have been due to lag. Thing is, the game doesn't tell you if you're lagging. There's no color indicator, there's no readout to tell you about your connectivity. What is funky, what is nice about this game, you can kill the engines. It's the C key, and no one tells you this, you have to find this out on the internet. You hit the C key, and that cuts the engine, as it were, and the inertial dampeners, which means nothing. Basically, you keep drifting. You can turn around here, you can shoot a little bit this way. And, well, you can imagine that's useful in dogfights. You have to be careful, though, because if you're going backwards and you are enthusiastically shooting your opponents like so, bam bam bam, pew pew pew. Imagine there's some opponents there, they're getting owned by my railguns. You're getting excited about all the loot you're gonna pick up, and then this happens, because this happened to me and I just killed all of them. It was a hard fight, and then this happens. You hit this wall and boom, you're back in this screen. This screen, the 2D sector map. So yeah, it's nice turning around, but the spaces are so small that that is an actual hazard. Yeah, I'm not a great fan of that. Also I think it boils down why I don't really like this game as of yet. There's just not a lot to do. I mean, sure, there are a lot of regions. There's 100 supposedly, and well, I'm not going to count them, but yeah, this looks like an interesting map. And all of them are like this. All of them will have a sector map like so, where you fly around and do stuff. But what are you gonna do? There's no missions. At least the missions that do send you somewhere, they're broken. Oh look, we have a combat encounter. So what you're basically relegated in this game at the moment to seek out these combat encounters and do them. And that way you get skill points. I think I can show you that here. This is the skill system. You get launcher. You get some percentage bonuses. It's not very engaging. Damn it! I'm passing it on the map here. Time to turn around. The skill system is not very engaging, and the only way to get experience, as far as I can tell, is to buy shooting stuff. And they market the game as you can. They market the game with slogans like it's full 3D immersion. There's dogfights with hundreds of people. Now I'll talk a little bit about the hundreds of people in a bit. First, we're going to shoot some guys because the dogfighting has some nice things here. We're going to shoot it, and then we're going to do that kill engine thing. And we're just going to drift past him, and that gives a nice spacey feel. You can hit the strafe keys, then you can cut in the engines again and chase him from this angle. Yeah, fire a missile at him if I still have those. The thing is, you can just bump into them and it doesn't matter. And your weapons, they have a finite range. The railguns, they have 1200 meters range, and under the opponent it reads the range. Now I challenge you to read the amount of meters that guy is away. I can't do it. Well, I can if I stare at it, but that's not really conducive to a dogfighting experience, to lean forward, stare at the screen, to read the font size to distance readout. And I looked on the internet about changing the fonts, and you can't. The fonts are that small. I changed the resolution to 1280 by 720, and well, that makes them like half again as large, but you know, you're playing the game in a very low resolution, so then there's that. I still don't like the ship either. I mean, it's a weird design. That's personal, obviously. I just don't really like it. And you can quick loot it. You can hit R. You don't have to go to the into the menu and do it that way. But then you have to switch back to your control scheme. And here I was out of control of the ship. I was in cursor mode for a few seconds, and you're at the end of your instance. So yeah, they could stand. I don't know how you're going to fit 100 players in here and have it be fun. Because I suppose there should be some enemies for all those players as well, or maybe they're supposed to fight each other, but it's going to be a big kiddie pool full of adults. If that analogy makes any sense to you at all. Also, a finite range on the bullets. They haven't decided whether they want to be a realistic physics-driven space shooter or not, because the bullets having a finite range obviously is very unrealistic space physics-wise. It's completely forgivable in a in a World War II type shooter, and if you change the backdrop to space, that's fine. But then you get these things, well, like, you kill the engines and turn around, and we have physics, and you know it's realistic and it's space, and it's not. So I don't know what they're going for, and I feel they should have made a choice. And you can hit R for a quick loot, but then if you do that, your cursor changes. So you have to hit Alt again to get back into, well, actually controlling your ship. So with these controls down, I have had a somewhat nicer dogfighting experience, but the game lacks direction in my opinion. And of course it's alpha. I mean, this is I think they opened it up to early access in like December, so lots of things are going to change, and they should. I mean, the text, the UI, the interface is dreadful. Well, there's obviously nothing to do in the game, and I understand it's supposed to be a sandbox game where you like make your own content, and that's fine. That's fun even. But there is a limit. You can't just say here's a spaceship, here's a 5 meter wide instance, and oh yeah, it's a sandbox, go do your thing. Because of course I suppose there's a lot of modules for the ship, weapons, shields, that kind of stuff. It's all there, but it's written in those size 2 fonts. And yeah, I want to make my ship better, but I really don't feel like reading about stats and min-maxing a nice ship together, which is fun, which can be fun in and of itself, but not if I have to strain at the screen and read pages and pages of text in font too. So yeah, I think my biggest gripe with the game is that font size. And now let's kill this guy. Something else, there's 3 kinds of sectors. For those of you that have played EVE Online, they will be familiar. There's green space, there's yellow space, and there's red space. And in green space, you are basically safe as a newbie, as a player that's not a pirate or a corporate member. I haven't figured out what that's about yet. In yellow space, you're sort of safe. Pirates can shoot you, but no one else can. And in red space, it's free for all. Also, the NPC pirates, of course, they vary in difficulty. And if you know what kind of color space you are in, then I suppose you can tell. But before, from that 2D sector map, there's no real way of telling how hard the enemies are going to be, apart of course from the actual type of space you're in. So you'll find an icon of a ship, the same one that I found on the map now, and you'll fight it, and it turns out that they have really big lasers and they burn you from the sky, and there's no way of telling that in advance. So yeah, some room for refinement there as well. Some content, some actual trading, some missions that work. I think those are the first things they really should focus on, and more ships. I want ships that are like fighters, and I don't know, look nicer, but that's personal. I mean, you might love the design of this ship, that doesn't really matter. Somewhat worryingly though, the thing they're working on for the next update is none of the things that I mentioned, and I'm not pretending to, you know, tell them what to do, but they're working on clan warfare, on guilds. They're called cartels in this game, and them staking out claims and fighting it out. And I think that's really premature, because there's no resources, there's nothing worth fighting over. Well, there are resources, but it's very basic. There's nothing worth fighting over. There's like 2 or 3 ships available, and honestly the dogfighting can use some work. Sure, it's nice that you can turn around like this and dodge things, but then half the weapons are lasers, which are undodgeable. Yeah, I think there is a lot of room for improvement, which again, of course, it's early access, it's alpha, that's not a problem, it's a good thing. But yeah, as of now, 20 euros, you must really like this space game genre. I really want it to be good, but as of now, it's really a bare bones framework. It can be good, it can become good. As of now, it really isn't. It throws you into the game, and it tells you nothing, literally nothing. and you're left to figure it out. And there's not a lot to figure out. You can, well, maybe I'm missing a lot. Maybe there's many more things to do. Don't think there are. The missions are broken. The guilds have just been added, and apparently the next big feature is going to be guild warfare. Very skeptical about that one, because the players, the hundreds of players that are supposed to be battling in these small instances, I think there is about 20 people online at the moment. They have leaderboards as well, where you can see like who has had the most NPC, PvE kills, PvP kills. I think I'm going to be near the top of the leaderboard today. There are literally not even dozens of players. So I'm not sure if this is just really early. I mean, I think it was released in December of last year, which is a few months, and then that number of players is very low. Or if it's just bombed already and I've just like basically invested in a lemon. The game looks decent. I mean, the dogfighting is alright. I think with some tweaks, with some I don't mean tweaks to the game, with some upgrades to the ship, some new and exciting weapons. The weapon, they don't really pack a punch, the railgun. They could have a big sound, like, I don't know, that makes it feel like you're shooting someone in the face instead of, I don't know, plonking away. Hey, what? There's a player that said hello. I'm going to say hello back. Screw this guy. Here's a player. Hello. First player I meet. Oh shit, and now I'm flying out of the instance. Don't do that to me. I want to kill this guy. I figured out the quick load though, so the quick loot though. So if I get booted out of this sector now, it's not that big of a deal. I'm going to make friends with this guy and figure out what he learns about the game. Because as I said, I really want to like the game. It looks nice, and if they get the mechanics in order, it can be really good. But Guild Wars, I don't think it's the time for that now. I'm going to make friends with this guy and hope that the game is good, and we can maybe he can tell me about what's going on. I will be doing more Entropy videos probably as features get added or as I discover them. For now, I would say hold off on buying it unless you really enjoy the whole alpha game process. Honestly, I don't think these kind of games are the way to go for early access. Honestly, I think early access is not the way to go for games like these, because you know you need some starter content, you need some missions, you need to get the players involved in the universe, show them a ship that they want to have, and then they will work for it. But if you just like throw them in a universe, they're gonna say, "Screw that! What's going on?" Are you kidding me? Did I lose the chat by... No. I'm currently recording a YouTube video. I don't want to have lost him by, you know, leaving that area. I'm going to invite him to the group. Anyway, I'm going to make friends with this. I'm Lorenzo. Check back, well, whenever the next video shows up, I suppose. Subscribe, like, comment, tell me what you think about the game. If you have bought it, let me know. I want to make friends with you and, you know, form big alliances in the game. When it gets good, we can play it forever. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.